Monsieur Wave.
Yo, apply. Yo, luta do de. Luta mo nulo jël moto nga andil ma xaalis. Hello?
Bësal mu fay.
What?
Bësal mu fine.
Oh, yes!
Wave acts in Gambia. Deposit and withdraw money, pay bills, and buy mobile credit without fees. Transfer money wherever in the country for only 1% fee. At Wave, Bësal mu fine. Wave, your money is yours.
Darboe, the company, have filling stations across the country, and our rates are relatively cheaper than anyone else across the country. Jar Oil is the biggest producer and distributor of cement in the country with the most competitive prices in the market.
Let's now go to part 2 of this conversation, which is, listeners' questions. My question today to Alhaji Usainu Darboe, UDP flag bearer and political veteran. Under your long-standing leadership, Mr. Darboe, the United Democratic Party appears increasingly stagnantly anchored in the politics of the past, resistant to generational renewal, and built more on personal loyalty than a forward-looking national vision. Once a formidable force for democratic reform, the UDP now risks transforming into a symbol of political nostalgia rather than a catalyst for national progress. Can a party that resists internal democracy under your leadership truly be trusted to safeguard national democracy if elected to power?
Well, I like the diction, very, very nice diction, very nice English language. But you see, this, I think, the questionnaire really misses things out. Do you think somebody like Ibu Mane would just have personal loyalty? His membership of the United Democratic Party, do you think it will not be informed by the policies? Amata, Lamin Mane, Larry Sise, a lot of others, and in diaspora. You think it is personal loyalty, not the policies of the party? But I appreciate his comment. But let me say that I think he does not really know the internal workings of the United Democratic Party. And if you do know the internal workings of the United Democratic Party, you would not be thinking about why is there not internal democracy. After all, at every Congress, people vie for position. You can see Janjambure, it was heated. So that just shows that we abide by the rules, just as we abide by the constitution of the Gambia in the selection of our representatives, of our political leaders at various levels. This generous notice, I have, not long ago, I have made a statement that, look, a UDP government will reveal the intergenerational nature. You'll have people, who are 60. You'll have people who are 30. You can even have people who are
in their 20s.
Yes. In their 20s. And we have a lot of such capable people within the party, people in their 20s. Look, when I see people like Ismaila Fadera win awards, he's one of our youths, I pound my chest in pride. Say, well, these are the young people who are going to take over from me. And you have several of them. When I see young people like Binta Senghor, young girls like Binta Senghor.
What does she do?
She's a counselor. She's the president of the female youth wing.
Okay.
And by the way, it is United Democratic Party that has really instituted that, to have female youth wing in the party. And also, let me tell Peter, to also have a disability wing. Oh. People different, we have it. We have a president of the disabilities wing of the party, and have them in the national executive as well as the central committee, because this should be an all-inclusive party. And then you think that because I'm limping, I don't have the brain? No.
Well, I argue that all the time.
No.
I am limping, but who can?
Yeah, who can
say I don't have a brain?
Who is more competent, more capable than yourself?
Maybe 100,
maybe
thousands, millions of them are there.
Maybe I'll make you use of information. but what we are saying is that this issue of really giving young people, yes, we have always been working towards that, and I think it will come. I think it will come.
Okay. Yeah. Good morning, Uncle Peter. I like Bakari Kebaji and Fatou Cham. They are bold and truthful. We are again disappointed in Barrow and his government. How can you use hundreds of millions to drill something you didn't confirm if it existed in the first place? Too much waste in this government. Gambia government is sad and full of selfish greed and dishonest people. They were talking about the $100 million the president reportedly included in his statement to drill for oil. Unfortunately, oil was not found. They're saying, why would you spend so much money just to prospect for oil when you weren't sure if it was going to yield anything? What do you think about such expenditure?
Well, spending on the drilling, I don't think that is wrong.
Okay, it
may be the amount. Maybe that's also depended on how effective our negotiators were. Yeah, I think it depends on that. But obviously, when you are not certain of the existence of any mineral deposit of any kind in any area, you really have to do exploration, and that exploration carries with it some cost. So for me, I do not know why $100 million was really spent on the drilling. It could be if oil was found, we would have forgotten about that $100 million to say that, well, it was money well spent. But of course, in every exploration, you either discover what you are really looking for, or you don't discover anything. So I want to suggest to President Barrow that in the future, when these types of contracts are being negotiated, they should really make sure that, in fact, they dictate, that they dictate the terms of the negotiation. They dictate the clauses that should be there. They just don't take this international agreement, that you said, well, this is the template, and then just accept that. No.
Somebody has a very humorous way of asking a question. Good morning, Peter, and good afternoon from China. Well, the price of bread will go up to $12 in next week, and I feel sorry for the Darboe Kunda because they love bread so much so that they built their own bakery in Bansang. So what does he think of the 20% increase in the price of bread?
Well, we certainly built a bakery in Bansang to take care of the Kamaras, the Jamias, and the Kasamas. That's what we have done. But again, yes, the price of bread be increased. I think maybe that's an area. If government was to subsidize, I think that's they ought to subsidize the flour factories, so that the cost of living, you don't have price control, but that could help to keep the price of bread stable, and you could keep it at $12, at $10, not to have it increased. I think that's what they should be thinking about. Yeah.
Good morning, Peter. I am certain many followers of the Gambian political scene and Coffee Time with Peter Gomez are equally happy as I am that you have veteran lawyer and politician, UDP leader A&M Hussein Darboe on the program this morning. I have one question for Mr. Darboe. Will Mr. Darboe accept that President Adama Barrow was encouraged and emboldened to stay beyond the 3 years that were agreed upon in the 2016 coalition agreement, upon which he, Barrow, campaigned on and got elected because of statements made in public by Mr. Darboe himself and other members of his party? You remember saying that if anybody was to bring up the issue of 3 years, Barrow himself didn't have to worry about it. You were still in government. That it was you yourself they would have to contend with.
That's a misrepresentation of facts.
Okay.
And it's a misrepresentation by my detractors.
Okay.
You know, let me say let me say this, Peter.
Yeah.
You see, when those coalition issues, I won't call agreement because I've not seen any agreement.
Okay.
You know? When those
issues, yes.
coalition issues were being discussed, the participants, I believe, did not have any confidence that Barrow was going to win. So let's put 3 years. But before that coalition was formed, Aissatou Touré, had launched the campaign for the attainment of her presidential ambition. And she said, I'll serve for 5 years. And I leave. My brother, my good friend, Khalifa, when he launched his campaign, I believe at Kairaba, he said, I would serve for one term of 5 years. So all these key people in dealing with that coalition issues knew that 5 years is what is really provided for by the Constitution. And you say, Peter, you want to really bring about constitutional reforms. You don't start doing by violating the Constitution, which you really want to reform for it to serve the people better. You don't start by violating it. Look, when NAD was formed in 2006, it was 5 years that was put there. And in fact, NAD was, the template. If I were there, I would have used the NAD template, so that there's no issue of whether there was an agreement or there was no agreement. We would have used that. Now, but Peter, what I said, that I have not seen any agreement that Barrow, that Barrow will serve Barrow will serve only 3 years. And I said, look, if anybody has that agreement, please produce it, and we will test its constitutionality. As a lawyer, I think I was speaking right. And not only as a, but as a senior, one of the most senior lawyers in this country, I shouldn't be playing politics with the law. I shouldn't be trying to thwart the Constitution. I mean, I'll be told, what type of a lawyer are you? I said, bring it. Bring the agreement, and still now, I have not seen that agreement. I had one time on this program, you said that my friend Harifa has a blueprint of it, and I want to see it. And honestly, if I see it, I will come to the Gambian people and apologize.
Okay.
So it's not correct that I said that, Barrow, you'll forget. I did say that, if that agreement exists, let it be brought out, and we can test its constitutionality. And it's a position I hold. And after all, practically, was it possible to have a new constitution drafted within that 3-year period? Was it possible to do all the needful things that you need to do, the TRRC, all these commissions? Was it possible to do it within 3 years? Practically, it was impossible.
Okay.
But as I said, I don't think anybody had any confidence that Barrow would win that election. I said, let us people see us together. That's my view.
Hi, Uncle Peter. Is lawyer Darboe against the subsidy by World Bank on electricity meters to rural households? This can be a tool used against him by the NPP during campaign. Are you against the subsidy on electricity by the World Bank, giving out these meters free, as you said at the beginning of the program?
No, I'm not saying that I'm against the subsidy. I'm saying that NAWEC is a profit-making institution. Look, let me tell you this. We have had gifts to the government by international organizations, and then the institutions that they should utilize it. There was an on-lending agreement. I was lawyer for Gamtel. There was a time, Alcatel, all the good equipment they had.
French company.
Yeah. I mean, it was it was initially a loan, but then later converted to a grant to the government of the Gambia.
Okay.
and the government of the Gambia had an on-lending agreement so that the equipment will still be used. Although they were supposed to be free, they'll still be used by Gamtel, but Gamtel will pay for them. You could have an on-lending arrangement on this issue. Yeah.
Okay, all right. Hi, Uncle Peter. After hearing the UDP leader's analysis on this SONA, it seems like the president has not said anything good because he has downplayed everything. My question is, if he should be the president, how will he conduct this SONA? And what advice does he have for the president to work on for his next SONA? And this is from Mohammed Cham from Sinchu, Alaji.
Well, I have not downplayed everything. I have not said that he has said nothing. What I said, look, this is what I would have done, in addition to what he has said. It's not that, for instance, agriculture. I said, look, what he has said in agriculture, I would have told the Gambian people that we are taking $50 million and putting it in agriculture. This is what I'm saying. I'm not saying that he has not said anything. Yeah? I mean, what I'm saying is that he has not said sufficiently what Gambian people need to hear and what ought to be done for Gambian people. This is what I'm saying.
All right. Good morning, Uncle Peter. Can you please ask Ba if he had a chance to personally pick a successor, who is his main choice? Of course, he has already said that he can't select one from the other, but he is also human and must definitely have private thoughts about his successor.
Well, if I would do that if I know who are really aspiring. If who has declared his intention. If I know those people, then certainly I can make a choice. Because I wouldn't say Ismaila Fadera when I do not know whether Ismaila Fadera wants, in fact, to be leader, and whether, in fact, Ismaila Fadera also has the ability to get the people united behind him. Yeah.
I didn't hear you mention Rohey Malick Lowe in that answer, but here's a question about her. What is his take with regard to the local government commission? We have heard from several witnesses showing the Lord Mayoress incompetence and so many fraudulent activities within the BCC. I, for one, have never seen any comment from the UDPians, and that is worrisome.
Well, it will be worrisome to him because, as far as I know, the commission is a quasi judicial body, and matters before that body, I think, should not be subjected to any comment. But then, if he wants, I will reluctantly say that yes, we have started seeing the commission probing into areas that are outside their mandate. The nomination by Rohey Malick Lowe of the councillors is completely outside their mandate. The last nomination. But why didn't probe into that? It just shows the objective for which this commission is set up. Rohey is giving evidence, so I would advise the gentleman to listen carefully to the answers that Rohey is going to give, and not to be prejudiced, not to really find her being involved in fraudulent activities, because when you say a person is involved in fraudulent activity, it means a lot. So that we should be careful with the words that we use. But I advise him to really listen to the answers that Rohey has given. And also, you must understand one thing, that those witnesses who are giving some kind of adverse evidence against Rohey has not been asked by the commission to come and ask those people. Since it's a fact-finding commission, you want to make sure that as they say, their statements, are checked by Rohey, and Rohey put questions to them.
So you want Rohey to be given the opportunity to cross-examine them?
To cross-examine them, yes, okay. To cross-examine them.
Okay.
Yes, right. and then you'll be beating it on the anvil of truth. Yeah.
Okay.
Axel James Wave.
Yo, apply. Yo, luta do de de. Luta mënuloo jël moto nga andil ma xaalis. Hello? Kan lay waxal?
Bësal mu fine.
What?
Bësal mu fine.
Oh, yes!
Wave Gambia. Deposit and withdraw money, pay bills and buy mobile credit without fees. Transfer money wherever in the country for only 1% fee. At Wave, Bësal mu fine. Wave, your money is yours.
Darboe, the company, have filling stations across the country, and our rates are relatively cheaper than anyone else across the country. Darboe is the biggest producer and distributor of cement in the country with the most competitive prices in the market.
We said questions and suggestions. Here's a long one. Good morning, Uncle Peter and our own Baba. I'm always happy to hear his voice. Whenever he speaks, you can see the leadership quality and wisdom in him. I'm urging all Gambians to rally behind Mr. Darboe and UDP to vote for them in 2026. I'm also urging my fellow youths to ignore suggestions that Mr. Darboe is old and he contested many elections without success. I believe the people who also said this should also tell people under what circumstances and who did he contest those elections against before 2016. There was no spot counting before 2016, and I still believe that was one thing Jammeh still regretted for bringing spot counting into the equation. I also believe youths should be giving chance to lead, but everything has a time. The way Gambia is now, we need an elderly man with great experience who can reconcile the country. And after, we can give chance to youths. Also, there are lots of positions in the government where young people can have more impact than the presidency. And it's the same youths who have been jumping from one political party to another since Jammeh time, but none of the politicians we called old have been ever motivated by positions or money to leave their parties and support the incumbent. And it's only in the Gambia where I see opposition joining the incumbent before presidential election. I think the youth should take their time and work hard for the future. Mr. Darboe is my choice of candidate unless the selection committee didn't select him. And I have already started my campaign for him a long time ago. Wish you long life, good health and prosperity. May God give us long life to witness 2026 elections. This is from Wandifa Bajo, England, Nottingham. I am a card-carrying member of UDP. I have just renewed my membership card last month. I love Mr. Darboe so much, and he even sends me, a copy of the membership card. You can
yes,
see.
I can see it. I can see it. That's right.
From there.
Yes, that's right. Thank you very much, Mr. Baja. I appreciate that very much. Appreciate it.
Wandifa. Do you wish that there are more Wandifas in UDP?
Oh, there are several thousands of Wandifas.
Wandifas, okay.
Thousands of them.
Let's move on. Good morning, Peter. Thank you for the wonderful program. Your guest has contested many elections without success. The decision is UDP's to select a flag bearer, but they need others to win. Can they listen to voices outside the party in picking a candidate who appeals to a much wider base?
Well, I appreciate very much your views, your opinion. When you say a candidate that is appealing to a much wider base, what is your criteria of determining that this candidate appeals to a much wider base? Is it because this is Hussein Darboe? Because whichever candidate UDP puts forward is going to sell United Democratic Party's manifesto. And I think the person who is making that comment appears to be an educated person. And I think your choice of a president should depend on the programs, the content of his manifesto, rather than on the person, whether he's short or he's small,
he's tall.
Or he's tall. Mm-hmm. I don't think it should be. Mm. And I want us Gambians to start, drifting away from this politics of to individualize politics, to look at the person's face and say, he's my favorite, that we went to the same school or we belong to the same club. I don't think that should inform our decision in endorsing any candidate. Look at the program there. Can anybody tell me that what UDP is selling to the Gambian people is the right policy, is the wrong policy? If you tell me that, then we will re-examine our policies and then probably come out with something that will meet your admiration. But gentlemen, I really take note of what you say. Yes, I have contested several times. Do you know the current president of Zambia, Hichilema, do you know how many times he has contested? He contested 5 times and won at the 6th time. I mean, Abdullah Wada, he was contesting against President Senghor, until about 2000 when he succeeded. So the number of times when a person has contested, I don't think should be a determining factor. And you also have to understand the environment in which those contests took place. We have all agreed that there was mock elections that took place here. I protested in 2011 when the chair of the Independent Electoral Commission said, thank God he will no longer be qualified to contest. I mean, you see that. And I made a public protest against it. And I said, look, that just shows that, all these elections, we are not being done properly. You see, the only chair, I have respect for all the chairmen, but the person I really had respect for is Bishop Teliver Johnson. Of his pleasure, may God receive him in the highest of heavens.
Why does he stand out, among all the others?
Bishop, in the first place, I mean, this on the, I think was it on the spot counting. He first in a chieftaincy election. He advocated for the establishment of a democracy fund. He also advocated for vote for the diaspora. He did that, but it all fell on deaf ears. So I have great admiration for him.
Let me ask you about, the prospect of there being a grand opposition coalition.
Well,
because everybody agrees now, no single party can win an election.
Well, yes. Okay, on that proposal, I want to align myself with my Jarbat said here at one time, Safal, that look, to say that no single party can win an election, I think it's a mistake. A single party can win elections in this country, provided that the people start looking or seeing the contestants in their individual and personal capacities, what they represent, or what they want to bring to the for the nation. If you only focus on that, then a single party can defeat any sitting government in any place. But of course, a grand alliance. Well, I don't. Maybe if we are happy, we won't call it grand. We'll avoid use of the word grand because we don't want to be copying anybody.
Yes, copycat.
Yeah, we don't want to do that. But for us, we have always been open to, a united front against the Jameden, and we'll be willing to work with anybody, to ally with anybody, to really make sure that this inefficient, insensitive government, corrupt government, is thrown out of power. And I'm using my words, very advanced, particularly on corrupt. Peter, if you look at the anti-corruption, the Anti-Corruption Act, there's a section there that says that all, allegations of corruption taking place before, I think, 30th January 2024 may not be subject to investigation by the Anti-Corruption Commission. So that all the corruptions that you did between 2017 to 30th January 2024, kaput, no way.
It's like they say, in okay.
You have been protected. Is that the type of government that the Gambian people who want to vote for again? I don't think so. And also, the government that advocates that when members of the executive vacate their office. They cannot make a declaration of their assets. But you want members of the National Assembly and judges to do it. Those people who not award contracts. I do not see any judge who awards any contract in this country. I do not see any assembly that awards contracts in this country. They would probably do their agreement and bring to the National Assembly for ratification. They have to declare their assets when they leave office. But you, the president, and all your ministers will not be obliged to do so. And you think that this is a government that is serious about fighting corruption, corruption that is eating into the fabric of our society, destroying our society. I want to tell people that, look, they should not look at Hussein Darboe, they should look at what Hussein Darboe stands for, and then decide to vote for Hussein Darboe.
Let me press you further on this issue of, corruption, which naturally leads us to, the constitution debate. The UDP, not just Hussein Darboe, the UDP is opposed to the 2024 draft. They want us to go back to the 2020 draft. And the government is saying the 2020 draft was rejected. So we can't go back to something that was rejected. And we know that even some of our development partners are openly campaigning for the 2024 draft constitution to be given a chance. You don't have the numbers in the National Assembly, to outrightly dismiss the 2024 constitution, but given the threshold, I mean, you could block its passage, and you are sworn to blocking it. People will say, well, they really don't mean change, because, for one, there are two fundamental things that even the draft, the 2024 draft, guarantees Gambians. Term limits and,
Diaspora voting.
Exactly.
Yes, I know. That's their ace. But does the 2020 draft not contain that? Does the 2020 draft not contain that? It contains it. With other better clauses. It contains it. So that is a bait they are putting out. And I think that is very dishonest. I think those who are advocating for the passing of the 2024 draft, let me say, except for the Human Rights Commission, because they have shown,
the UNDP, if you were to become president, you will have to work with the UNDP as a development partner. The UNDP is pro-2024 draft.
The UNDP is pro-2024 draft because they do not see the Gambia government wanting to bring the 2020 draft back. Because when they say that you cannot bring the 2020 draft back, I think that is wrong. I do not see in the Constitution or in the standing orders of the National Assembly to say that when a matter is rejected, it cannot be brought back. I've not seen it. And I think the judge's remuneration bill was rejected, and I think that has been, I think it has been brought back. So what are you saying?
Well, the argument is this is actually the 2020 draft brought back, in a different way.
It's not brought in a different way. After all, the 2024 draft does not have a provision for nominated membership of the National Assembly. You bring in a provision for a nominated National Assembly, and then you give yourself the power to dismiss any nominated member. You want to circumvent the Yakumba Jaita judgment. So that now, when we talk about separation of powers, the National Assembly, at least, some part of the National Assembly is now at the mercy of the president. And you think that's not a fundamental departure? The whole chapter on integrity and leadership, don't you think that is a complete departure, a fundamental departure from the 2020 draft? This is of corruption, of declaration of assets. Even the 1997 Constitution does have a provision for declaration of assets when one vacates office.
We never had that. We never had anybody declare assets.
Well, yeah, but what I'm saying, it does have. Yeah. So now that depends on implementation.
Yeah, sure, absolutely.
It depends on the implementation. So when they tell me that these are the improvements in the 2024 drafts. I said, but are you serious?
And when they try to sell it to you as the lesser of two evils.
As the lesser of two evils, which is the other evil? At least the Jamaican Constitution does not empower the president to dismiss a nominated member of National Assembly. It does not. At least the Jamaican Constitution does have a provision for declaration of assets by public officials. At least it does that. Yeah, I agree. It does not have term limit. It does not have diaspora thing. But then the 2020 that has, Peter, what can easily be done? Remove 2020 and put 2025. But it's just the date. It's just the date. Because if you are drafting a new, if you pretend that you are drafting a new constitution, you will give it the year in which you are presenting it.
Sure.
So because it's 2020, they think that it's 20. So you are bringing to 2020 draft. No, you are bringing back into the National Assembly a draft that was prepared for 2020 in 2020,
and for which we paid a lot of money.
for which $116 million is. And I think really. President Barrow should be magnanimous to Gambian people and say, look, I cannot allow your $116 million to go down the drain like that. I cannot allow that. All advocates for a good constitution of the Gambia should really be telling President Barrow, please, let us do this. That is for the good of the country.
Do you think those 8 National Assembly members from your party originally who dumped the party went over and helped, vote it down,
They have paid the price for it.
Have they?
They have paid the price for it.
How?
Only 2 of them have returned to the National Assembly.
Oh, really?
Oh, yes.
Well, one of them was voted out and got nominated immediately again.
But again, that is how much President Barrow values the decision of the Gambian people. Here's a person who has been rejected. The constituency which he served for 5 years no longer believe that he is capable or he is fit to represent them. And then you turn around and say, definitely, I mean, it's really not respecting the opinion of the Gambian people. It may not be in the Constitution as it was in the 1970 Constitution. A nominated member, that a person who contests an election and loses cannot be nominated. That was in the 1970 Constitution.
That was a good law. Huh?
Yeah, that was. But then, even if it was not in our 1997 Constitution, the good practice is what we should really follow. President Barrow ought not to have appointed her or nominated her to National Assembly.
Why are you avoiding her name?
Well, of course, we all know it. I mean, it is the former honorable member for Talini, Madam Fatimata Jawara. Yeah, certainly. Could have given her another appointment, that would satisfy her, that will really comfort her, that I've lost, but I'm still not, I'm still doing something for my country. Yeah.
You mentioned another, lady politician, Yakumba Jaite. Where is she?
Oh, she's around. She's around. She's deputy admin secretary.
Okay.
She's deputy admin secretary, and I guess she belongs to that core
that works behind the scenes, is it? Because you don't hear her, like you hear the other young ones like Haji Sowane and
because he's admin secretary, deputy admin secretary, so they don't talk much. But I can tell you that even these constitution talks, she has always been part of my delegation. Yeah.
Fantastic. Let's go back to the questions. Good morning, Uncle Peter. My name is Lamin Jawara, former deputy party leader of the GPDP. Greetings to my father and everyone listening. Mine is more of a prayer for him to have long life, health, and be the Alcalo of number 1 Marina Parade soon. We love you, Baba. UDP is the most democratic party, Uncle Peter. Thank you once more, Ba Usainu. GPDP, that's Henry Gomez's
party.
Ah.
Yeah.
Okay. What do you mean? He likes to take a poke at you, Henry. I mean, what do you think of his politics?
No. I always enjoy, those very flowery wall-off language. I enjoy him. I don't want.
Mbahali Pooch Patch. There's nothing flowery in that.
I mean, the way he says it, Yeah, so I enjoy sometimes I enjoy those. I mean, I wouldn't call it comical, but I enjoy some of his things. But then that is all I have to say about him. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Oh, there are so many messages. Some of them, of course, are still on the flag bearer thing, which I think you have dealt with already. Hi, Uncle Peter. If what Honorable A.N.M. Darboe said regarding the coalition agreement is the case, why did he make the turnaround to ask the president to honor the 3 years Jotna's request? Yes, if the president was constitutionally mandated to serve 5 years and couldn't do fewer years, why did you at a press conference then ask for him to stick to the 3-year agreement with the coalition?
Let me first clear that it was not 3-year Jotna that informed any decision. I think that should be clear. This was an issue that was discussed at the level of national executive, and it took several meetings. Before a conclusion could be reached. Yeah? And of course, they had two choices. Either step up and do what is required of me as a leader, because this was the party's decision. I cannot ask any other person on an important issue like that. I cannot ask any other person, you go and address the press conference. For me, that will be abandoning my responsibility to the party, and that will be telling my party members that, well, if I disagree with you, I will not follow, I will not abide, but what you have decided, and that will be dictatorial. So I have the duty to the party to make that statement, even though the decision was against my own personal views. And it is not my personal views that really matters. It is what the party decides on. That is what matters.
Fantastic. I'll make this the final question because I have a final question myself. It's, 6 minutes to 11 o'clock, and we are definitely going to stop at 11. Hi, sir. Just an observation. Most times I feel like politicians, including Alhaji Hussein Darboe, talk about pumping huge amounts of money into things like agriculture, but they rarely break it down for us. Like, how exactly will that solve the problem? Even in this conversation, everything feels very general. I haven't really seen anything pointed out specific problems and explaining practical steps to fix them, especially when it comes to using tech or empowering youth. Would love to hear more concrete ideas. So if you get all the millions that the Barrow government is getting, and the Agriculture Ministry, under Dr. Demba Sabali is getting, how would you, make it work practically?
Well, you see, Peter, we don't have enough time because you will be dealing with segments.
Yes.
And you don't have that time. So after necessity, you have to make general statement. I wish we had an occasion when we'll be dealing only with agriculture. And then I'll be able to tell you what I would do in a particular area, what I'll do in a particular area, what I'll do in a particular area. For instance, I've already said that 50 million, I will use part of it to acquire fertilizer and give it to the farmers free. Of course, we have other ideas, the diversification of our everyday consumables.
And while you are at this, I remember when the president, and the higher education minister jointly, inaugurated that madrasa mainstreaming thing. a clip of you making something, a declaration to that end in 2021, 4 years ago. Was sent to me immediately.
And I was happy. And that World Bank was in, and Peter, let me say this. This is, my very honest opinion. I really like Professor Pierre Gomez. I like the way he's doing.
I hope you're not getting him sacked the next minute for praising him. You remember you once said that whatever UDP praises,
I hope he's not sacked. But it will be difficult for them to come by somebody more competent. More engaging, with his ministry as Professor Gomez. When I heard that they were launching this and the World Bank was about as Alhamdulillah, this is an idea that UDP had put forward, that they had championed. Now, if the government, picks it up, I'll be too happy about it. In fact, at another occasion, I did say that the majils, that is, not the madrasas, but the majils, they need to have social budget. You see, the outbreaks of scabies in Bruford wouldn't have happened if at least those type of institutions do have some support, government support. But then they do not have any government support. You have children crowded, in a small room, sometimes they do not have a proper bath, So really, the outbreak of any disease or scabies, is coming. Can happen, and I did advocate for that, And I also at one time, and I listened to one statement by Professor Gomez that they are going to have a student loan scheme, And I said, I told Lamin Manada, I'm happy because I was addressing a group of students, young people. I said, look, UDP would introduce a student loan scheme so that those whose parents could not afford the tuition fees can go in and apply on a merit basis to get the loan. And when I saw Professor Gomez making a statement to that effect, I said, we are thinking alike. We are thinking alike. And
so unlike Lamin Mane, who wouldn't offer free consultancy to the NPP, you have no problem discussing ideas that they can now latch on.
No, if this
and it serves the whole country.
This is what I want for my country. And if they pick it, if I say this and they pick it up, I'll be very happy. I'll be very happy about that.
And just finally, there is a saying: "What doesn't kill you only makes you stronger." I mean, what do you think of how will the UDP emerge from this open? I'm going to use the word because you said that everybody was describing it that way. Warfare, among some of your younger executive members.
In fact, there has been more commitment, a reaffirmation of their unalloyed loyalty to the UDP, and everyone is working hard, and we are taking steps to make sure that 2026 is a UDP's year. That is what we are doing, and we're not just. This is not just being left to the structures. Youth groups, women groups, are doing this. And in fact, on the 28th, next Saturday this week, the women of the United Democratic Party is a tradition in the United Democratic Party. The women of the United Democratic are organizing a rally, a mega rally in Yundum, and I think all the speakers are going to be women.
Oh wow!
All the speakers are going to be women. Yes. So we are really, and when it's going to also be the opportunity for us to show to the whole world that yes, you do have, domestic disputes, domestic squabbles, and they resolve themselves in the home. Big brother and big sister, they fight. Nobody sits between them and reconcile. They reconcile themselves.
And this has happened in the UD.
This has happened.
Fantastic. Alhaji Usainu Darboe, thank you so very much for coming.
You're welcome.
All right, that's the Secretary General and leader of the United Democratic Party, Alhaji Usainu Darboe, our guest today. Tomorrow, NPP. Now, I can't tell you just yet who is coming because it's between CDCC and Dr. Demba Sabali. They have to decide. Whoever comes, they'll also have 2 hours, hopefully. Sorry?
Peter, I think that's unfair. CDC says admin secretary. I am leader. I think bring Adam Abaro, please.
He wouldn't be here.
No, bring him. You know?
I'll let you did that to call him.
Well, I'll call him
and say, yes, you should go just as I have been. You're the party leader. Demba Sabali is not. It's just number 2. Thank you very much. All right. All right. But tomorrow, the first hour, as we have done, will be the news, the adverts. The second hour, we're going to be talking about the Reparations Commission. So we'll talk about that from 9 o'clock to 10 o'clock. And then whether it's Adam Abaro that comes, whether it's Dr. Demba Sabali that comes, whether it's CDCC that comes, we will talk NPP for the next couple of hours. Thank you for listening. Thank you for watching. Have a good day. Thank you for listening. Thank you for watching. Have a good day. Thank you for listening. Thank you for watching. Have a good day. Thank you for listening. Thank you for watching. Have a good day. Thank you for listening. Thank you for watching. Have a good day. Thank you for listening. Thank you for watching. Have a good day. Thank you for listening. Thank you.
Excellent jam, Wave.
Yo, apply. Yo, luta do dede. Luta mo nulo jël moto nga andil ma xaalis. Hello?
Busel mu fine.
What?
Busel mu fine.
Oh, yes!
Wave Gambia. Deposit and withdraw money, pay bills and buy mobile credit without fees. Transfer money wherever in the country for only 1% fee. At Wave, Busel mu fine? Wave, your money is yours.
Darboe, the company, have filling stations across the country, and our rates are relatively cheaper than anyone else across the country. Darboe is the biggest producer and distributor of cement in the country with the most competitive prices in the market.